The Great Wall of China in China. Imagine building a wall so long it could wrap around the Earth's equator twice. That's how massive the Great Wall of China is. It's like a giant dragon snaking across the countryside, protecting China from invaders for thousands of years. This mega project wasn't built all at once. It took generations of hardworking Chinese people starting way back in the 7th century BC. They kept adding to it for about 2,000 years. Talk about a never-ending home improvement project. Here's a quirky fact. The mortar used to hold some bricks together was made with sticky rice. Yep, the same stuff in your sushi. Turns out it made the wall super strong. Despite its name, the Great Wall isn't just one wall. It's actually a network of walls, towers, and fortresses. And contrary to popular belief, you can't actually see it from space with the naked eye. Sorry, astronauts. Great Pyramid of Giza, Egypt. Built around 2560 BCE, this massive triangle-shaped structure was a fancy tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. It's so old that when Cleopatra saw it, it was already as ancient to her as she is to us. Talk about feeling young. At 146.5 meters or 481 feet tall, it held the record for the world's tallest building for over 3,800 years. That's one long-standing champion. Here's a fun fact. The pyramid is actually 8-sided, not 4. It's so subtle, you can only see it from the air at dawn or sunset on the equinox. Despite its age, it's still standing strong. Maybe the ancient Egyptians should have gone into the construction business. Petra, Jordan. Let's dive into Petra, the rock star city of Jordan. Imagine a whole city carved into rosy red cliffs. That's Petra for you. It's like an ancient version of a fancy gated community, except instead of gates, they had a narrow canyon called the Seek to keep out unwanted visitors. Built over 2,000 years ago by the Nabateans, say that 5 times fast, Petra was a bustling trade center. These folks were so clever, they created an impressive water conduit system in the middle of the desert. Talk about making it rain. The most famous building in Petra is the Treasury, which looks like it's straight out of an Indiana Jones movie. Oh wait, it actually was in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Huh. Here's a fun fact. Petra was lost to the Western world for hundreds of years until a Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt rediscovered it in 1812. He had to disguise himself as an Arab scholar to sneak in. Christ the Redeemer, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Imagine a massive Jesus statue with arms spread wide, as if he's saying, "Come on in for a hug, Rio." That's Christ the Redeemer for you. Standing at 98 feet tall, atop Corcovado Mountain, he's like a cosmic lifeguard watching over the city's beautiful beaches. Built in the 1920s, this Art Deco wonder is made of reinforced concrete and covered in tiny soapstone tiles. Why soapstone? Well, it's soft enough to carve easily, but tough enough to withstand Rio's weather. Smart thinking. Here's a quirky detail. The statue has a hidden trap door in Jesus' right shoulder. It leads to a tiny room where brave maintenance workers can peek out. Talk about a room with a view. Despite his serene appearance, Christ the Redeemer has been struck by lightning multiple times. But don't worry, he's got lightning rods in his crown. Even divine statues need a little extra protection from Mother Nature's mood swings. Colossus of Rhodes, Greece. A giant bronze statue as tall as a 10-story building standing guard over an ancient Greek island. That's the Colossus of Rhodes for you. This massive hunk of metal was a statue of Helios, the sun god, built to celebrate a big military win. It took 12 years to build and only stood for about 56 years before an earthquake knocked it down. Talk about short-lived fame. Here's a funny bit. Contrary to popular belief, it didn't straddle the harbor entrance. That would have been quite a sight for sailors, though. Imagine sailing between a giant's legs. Interestingly, its remains were a tourist attraction for centuries. People came from far and wide to gawk at the fallen giant. Ancient selfie spot, anyone? Machu Picchu, Peru. Let's explore Machu Picchu, the Incan city that played the world's longest game of hide-and-seek. Nestled high in the Andes Mountains of Peru, Machu Picchu is like a secret treehouse club for ancient Incas. Built in the 15th century, it was abandoned about 100 years later and remained hidden from the outside world until 1911. Talk about an epic game of hide-and-seek. This lost city of the Incas is a marvel of engineering. The Incas built it without wheels, iron tools, or mortar. Instead, they cut and stacked stones so precisely that you can't even slip a credit card between them. Imagine trying to build your Lego set that perfectly. Here's a fun fact. Machu Picchu has a built-in alarm clock. There's a specific stone called the Intihuatana that casts no shadow at noon during the spring and fall equinoxes. It's like a giant sundial, but good luck trying to hit the snooze button on this one. Despite its remote location, Machu Picchu gets tons of visitors. It's like the Disneyland of ancient ruins. Chichen Itza, Mexico. Picture a giant pyramid in the middle of the Mexican jungle. That's El Castillo, the star of Chichen Itza. It's not your average pyramid though. This one's a supersized Mayan calendar. With 365 steps, one for each day of the year, it's like the world's biggest stairmaster. Chichen Itza was a major Mayan city, bustling with activity from about 600 to 1200 AD. They weren't just building pyramids for fun. These guys were serious about astronomy, math, and apparently playing ball. Speaking of ball games, Chichen Itza has a huge ball court where the Mayans played a game that's part soccer, part basketball, and part try not to be sacrificed. The losing captain sometimes lost more than just the game, if you know what I mean. Talk about high-stakes sports. Here's a cool trick. Stand at the base of El Castillo and clap. The echo sounds like a chirping bird. It's like the Mayans built their own ancient sound system. Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Greece. Picture this, a massive statue of Zeus, king of the gods, sitting on a throne. He's decked out in gold and ivory, holding a figure of Nike, victory in one hand, and a scepter in the other. Talk about a power pose. The statue was so tall, about 13 meters, 43 feet, that if Zeus stood up, he'd have busted through the roof. Maybe that's why they made him sitting down. Here's a fun fact. The sculptor Phidias added a reflecting pool in front of Zeus. Why? So the big guy could check his hair, of course. Sadly, this wonder didn't stand the test of time. It's like Zeus ghosted us. One day he was there, the next, poof. The Colosseum, Rome, Italy. Imagine a giant oval stadium that could fit about 80,000 screaming fans. That's the Colosseum for you. Built nearly 2,000 years ago, it was the go-to spot for ancient Romans to catch some seriously wild entertainment. This massive amphitheater wasn't just for show. It hosted gladiator fights, animal hunts, and even mock sea battles. Yeah, you heard that right. They could flood the arena for nautical nose boops. Talk about a multi-purpose venue. Here's a fun fact. The Colosseum had a retractable roof. Well, sort of. They used a system of ropes and canvas to create shade for spectators. It was like a giant umbrella for the whole stadium. Fancy, huh? Despite its tough appearance, the Colosseum has had its share of hard knocks. Earthquakes, stone robbers, and pollution have all taken their toll. But like a hardy old gladiator, it refuses to go down without a fight. And get this, entry to the Colosseum was free for ancient Romans. But don't get too excited. You had to sit according to your social rank. The big shots got the front rows, while the common folk were stuck in the nosebleed section. Some things never change, right? The Taj Mahal, Agra, India. Picture a massive white marble palace that seems to float on air. That's the Taj Mahal, built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan as a supersized memorial for his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Talk about relationship goals. Completed in 1653, this beauty took about 22 years and 20,000 workers to build. It's like the ultimate DIY project, but with an army of helpers and unlimited funds. Imagine telling your spouse, "Honey, I'm just popping out to build you a palace. Be back in 2 decades." The Taj isn't just pretty, it's clever too. The 4 minarets, tall towers, at the corners lean slightly outward. Why? So, if they fall, they won't crash onto the main building. It's like architectural airbags. Here's a quirky detail. The Taj changes color throughout the day. It's pinkish in the morning, milky white in the evening, and golden under moonlight. It's like a giant mood ring reflecting the sky's emotions. Despite its romantic origins, maintaining the Taj is no love story. Pollution turns its white marble yellow, so workers give it regular mud baths to keep it sparkling. Even eternal monuments need a spa day sometimes.